Hello, good day, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to show you a painting I just recently completed. Now this is the painting and it took me about 10 hours to complete, so please stay to the end of this video to see exactly how this painting was done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and also share it with a friend. I have with me here my framing materials and the pencil I use for sketching. This is a 2H Kimberly graphite pencil and it's a very light pencil, so it's great for sketching. So what I want to do is that I want to frame the portrait before I start. The advantage of this is that it will help me to hold the portrait vertically upright so that I can be able to paint, because when I paint, I don't paint on a table, I paint using an easel. So basically I'm trying to frame the portrait using plywood and top bond. I have a video on my channel on how I frame my portraits, so you can go and check that one out. I'll leave the link in the description. But in a nutshell, it's all about just putting the paper on the plywood. This is a 14 by 18 inches paper, so that's the size of this portrait. It's 14 inches by 18 inches. All I have to do now is to use my hammer and nails to hold the portrait in place. This video is going to be a little bit longer than my previous videos because in this one I really want to try to go as detailed as possible so that you leave having learned something. Okay, so you can save this video and use it later for reference purposes. With the framing completed, I'll move over to the painting itself. Now all I need now is to gather my materials, the brushes, the paint tubes, the linseed oil for mixing the paints, and of course my glass palette. We use glass palette because it's easier to clean off when it's messy. Right now my palette is filled with dried paint from the last time I used it. I have to clean it in order to work with it. So the easy way to do it is just to scrape the paint off using something sharp like a knife. So I'm using my scraper. I'm just scraping off the dried paint of the glass palette. When you do this, you observe something. You observe that some of the paints still have wet paint under a dry paint surface. So oil paint works like this. Oil paint dries due to the air around it, so when it's sealed from air, it's not going to get dried. So what happens is when you are done painting and your paint starts to dry, underneath that dry surface is wet paint under. So that you don't waste it, you are now supposed to separate the wet paint from the dry paint. So right now I'm taking off some of the red from underneath the dry surface of paint. I'll do that for the red, the yellow and the white and also the blue, and then I'll scrape off the dried parts and just throw it away. Notice I use a piece of paper to do that. Alright, with that ready, let's set up my stage. Not really stage. Let's set up my stage for the painting. Without wasting time, I'm already working on the hair. Now I try not to be as detailed as possible because, well, it's difficult to get hair, so I just do it to the best of my ability. The main thing is just to keep the coily nature from the reference picture. The beauty of starting with the hair is that all we have to do is use ivory black. There is no color mixing done right now. Just go straight with plain black and paint the hair. Also take note, when you are using black on a white canvas or a white paper, right now I'm making use of a fine linen texture paper. Take note that you have to let the black be very thick. That means let it be more of paint pigment and less of oil solution. Of course, now we want to mix the skin tone because we're getting ready to go to the painting itself. And to mix the skin tone, I have a video on how I mix skin tones, but in a nutshell, basically all we need is red and yellow. Red and yellow gives us the orange hue for the face, but then we also need to dull it down using green. So green basically just steals away from the brightness of the color, makes it a little bit more dirty, and then you have a skin tone. So this is me mixing red and yellow to get orange, and then using green to dull it down a little. And of course I'll put the reference picture beside it so that I'll be able to get a proper match. This is basically the best I can do for color matching. Most times I find out that it's not so accurate, but the idea is that just mix to the best of your ability. As you continue to mix, as you continue to paint, you will find areas that has variation of color, variation of shade, variation of hue, and as you go on you begin to make adjustments. But just mix the primary dominant color of the skin tone first, and then as you continue you add white and add black when necessary. The 5 colors we use in painting a portrait is cadmium red, cadmium yellow, titanium white, ivory black, and phthalo blue. Just 5 colors. It's amazing, because when I started I used to think that you have to buy like 30-50 colors, but it's not true. You just have to know how to mix the colors to get what you want. Now we can get to the painting proper. Let's start with the eyes. Well, I love to start from the eyes because the eyes, they say, is the window to the soul. So I like to touch the soul of the character I'm working on. Then after working on the eyes to an extent, I move on to the rest part of the portrait. Every now and then I'm going to be slowing down the process so that you really see how long it takes, because what you see in seconds may have taken me hours to do. Now this is the real-time speed of the painting process, and you can see it's really slow. Alright, I sped it up a little bit now, but it's still very slow. Now notice the little color changes everywhere. I also notice the eye has a red hue in the corner. The red in the corner just simply makes it more natural, okay? Because nobody has a perfectly white eye. There's always going to be some stain somewhere. So the more you stain the eye of the character you're painting, the more realistic it's going to look. Just don't leave anybody with a plain white eye. It has to be stained, it has to be messy, because that's what makes it natural. Also, it's more beautiful, it's more easy, it's much more easy to paint characters that are using makeup. So when they put on makeup, they really make painting easier for us artists. So keep it up, girls, keep using your makeup. Now I move on to the eyelid, and of course we're going to speed it up now so that will be done here as quickly as possible. If you've stayed till this point of the video, I really want to appreciate you, because I know it takes a lot of discipline to sit down and watch a tutorial video. These days everybody prefers to be entertained with comedy and laughter, which I love too, but you know, for the sake of productivity, we also need to learn. In fact, I'm currently watching a lot of tutorials online too. I'm watching tutorials on how to edit videos better using DaVinci Resolve. So even while I'm teaching you, I'm still learning. So don't get bored of watching tutorials, because they really help. It's much easier, like I said, to watch comedy online, but what is really going to benefit you are the tutorials you watch from YouTube, and thanks to YouTube there's nothing you cannot learn on your own. Now I just sped through a lot of important parts of the painting, but I know you're still going to get something just by looking at it. For a moment, I just want to take my focus away from the painting and talk about the phone on the side. Now the phone on the side is where the reference picture is, and also I have a timer there counting. That basically just helps me to speed up and not to waste time when I know I'm being timed. So I've also gotten a lot of questions on how do I hold my phone in a position like that, because really it's important to have something holding your phone for you. For a long time I held my phone with my left hand while painting with my right hand, but I realized it's really frustrating. So in order to hold your phone like that to the side, you need to have two things. The first thing is a movable arm table mount. It's basically what musicians and YouTubers use to hold their condenser mic on the side by mounting it to their table. So you can get that on Jumia. I'll leave the link in the description if any. And then you also need a car phone holder. So this is what car owners use to hold their phone to the windscreen so that they can, operate their phone while driving without using their hands. So all I did was I had a broken car phone holder already, so I glued it together with the table mount. The painting is done. Now when I say the painting is done, it means this is where I stopped. I can notice maybe the forehead has a very disturbing circle. This yellow circle on the forehead is very disturbing. It has not been properly blended, and honestly I don't know if I'm going to fix it. Sometimes when I'm done like this, I just want to stop. I'm not usually the kind of person to stay and try to make something perfect. Let's just say I'm not a perfectionist. But what I'm also doing right now is I'm working on the hair, trying to dull down the highlights of the hair to make it more natural. Okay, so basically I'm using mostly oil and a little bit of black paint, but mostly oil, to dull down the white canvas showing through on the black paint. So I'm not just using pure black to cover it up, I'm just dulling it down so it's no longer sharp white, but you can still see the curly pattern of the hair. I know right now you may be wondering, why do I keep painting people that you do not know? Why don't I paint popular celebrities? Well, the reason is that I paint for clients mostly, and these are their loved ones that they give me to paint. But if you want me to paint celebrities, I would also do that. Just leave your request in the comments section and I'll consider it. For now, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, please share it with someone, and until next time, I'll see you again.